Alright YouTube, I'm just starting this video off. Been a minute since I've recorded some footage on some gacha games, but I wanted to start a new journey with this game. Last Cloudia, you can see on the screen, we've got a nice new layout that I just finished customizing for any footage that we record on this game. So you can see all of my links to my socials on the side I just put, so please check me out over there. That would be greatly appreciated. But anyway, I wanted to start a little series on videos related to this game because it is the first gacha game that's kind of got me hooked on it, and it doesn't require the pull of my childhood nostalgia like all these other games that I know and love from my childhood. So today's video, I want to get to it, is why you haven't heard of this game. Because playing it, I'm going to jump in. Playing it, I was intrigued. Oh, we got to download. The story's interesting. The characters are interesting. They're cool. The artwork's fantastic. There's a lot of pros to this game. I might do a video about that. Some of the pros to this video, and then there's some of the pros to this game and some of the cons to this game. But all in all, it seems like a pretty solid game, at least jumping in with no prior bias as to what has happened. Because, oh yes, there's a new character that was just added today. I should do a little reveal of that as well. But the game has been out for a year and a half, so it's not a stranger to the market, right? I'm going to close this. I just want to go ahead and show off some of this stuff while I'm explaining, but as you can see, like, the artwork is cool. So what better way, after playing it for a couple weeks, wondering why there's not really any hype, there's not really any videos on YouTube about it, what better way to find out why the game may not be doing as well as I believe it could be than asking the main player base, aka Reddit. So I jumped over to Reddit and did a little post. Thought, hey, people respond, cool. They don't, I'll just keep doing a little research. But to my surprise, the post kind of blew up a little bit in my eyes, right? We got a lot of reactions, 22 comments, 13 in the first 13 hours, just switched right there. And there I just posted, why isn't there more buzz around the game? I'm new to it. I'm ranked 12, having a great time playing through the story, diving into the mechanics of the game. After doing my research, I realized it's not really popping. There's not a lot of content creation for it at the moment. There was one video with like 100,000 plus views by some YouTuber named FG3000. And then not much else. Literally, the first comment off the gate is what I want to highlight. Shout out to Suzakufubuki. I don't know if I said that right, but I gave it a shot. He gave 5 pretty solid reasons as to why I think the game is not where it could be, I should say. There was a lot of consensus that there's potential for this game, but there are some really major flaws to it. So Suzaku says reason number 1, Adis doesn't really invest much in promoting the game, yet to see an ad anywhere online. Meanwhile, other companies spend anywhere from a decent to an obscene amount of moolah to get the word out. We just saw this with the release of Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact, I've seen more advertisement for that game than I have any other new gacha style game that's on the market. Reason number 2. The game is not relying on an already well-known or established IP like Final Fantasy, Romancing Saga, Naruto, or Bleach. Some gachas based on said IP rack massive amounts of players because the IPs are known and loved prior to the games even existing. I can attest to this reasoning itself because the current games that I'm addicted to, right, including Dragon Ball Z, Dokkan Battle, 7 Deadly Sins, Grand Cross, those are all based off shows and animes that I have a prior connection with from my past growing up, liking anime, whatnot, what for? That's not a saying. Reason number 3, lack of content, or rather, lack of versatility in content. We get new story expansions once every 2 or 3 months. Other than that, most events are really the same thing. Farm X stage Y times. Rewards are generally uninteresting. The gun from the ongoing event is an exception. I don't know what that means. There's few end game content and it's not versatile enough. So while I've been enjoying the story and the grind to level up and upgrade the characters, this guy's saying that once you get to the end game, there's kind of a lack of content, which I also saw other comments. I'll probably scroll down so we can see. They're not pumping out content like some of these other gacha games are. And with that being said, makes sense why there's not a lot of hype, right? You kind of do it and then you're done, and then if you're waiting a month or 2 months, you're going to move on to another game. Also makes sense why there's not a lot of content creators making anything on it, because there's nothing for them to make it on. Once they've covered kind of the basics, what do they report on? All right, reason number 4, he gives lack of banners. This kind of ties into the last reasoning, but we get 1 or 2 characters tops per month. We haven't had a new R or SR arcs in forever. It's all about the SSR and UR arcs now. I feel like that kind of happens regardless, but in this game, the lower tier arcs still can be very useful, and they require less resources to upgrade. Collabs are nice, but they aren't enough to pull a game on their own. The only collab that I know of that I'm familiar with is the that one time I got turned into a slime, I think is the title of it. They had a collab with this game too. I don't know when that was, but I know it was a little while ago. Again, if you're not releasing characters at a fast pace, you're going to lose the attention of people like me who are addicted to these games with a short attention span, basically. Last but not least, Suzaku says, taking all of the above into the consideration, it's difficult for content creators to actually produce consistent material around this game, like we talked about this. Not because it's bad, but they need to churn 1 or 2 or 3 videos about the same gacha each week. I would argue every day. To pretty much survive in a gacha content creator market, you're posting you're posting at least 2 videos a day. Going back to it, it says this game is like a turtle. The ReZero collab, I guess that was another collab, lasted a whole month. That was it. No additional events. Nothing was going on except the collab because it was spread over the whole month. Pacing was extremely slow. A lot of the content was time gated. We see this in other gacha games like Dragon Ball Z Legends, for example, I know of, where some of the content's released, about 35% of it in the first 2 weeks, then 50% the third week, another 50% the last week. Needless to say, it left a bad taste in the player's mouth because the only other thing you could do in the game was farming materials, and once you make a best tips on how to farm this video, you can't really do much more. His last comment actually intrigued me a lot because before I got a response on this Reddit post, I was on the Discord asking people, what they thought of the game, and I got a lot of they're greedy, too much paid to play kind of features, like for example the step up banners, which are very common in gacha games. You can't summon on the step up banners in this game unless you've paid for your crystals. So that's a turnoff to a lot of people, which I completely understand. I think there's an easy fix for that, but I'll get to that maybe in another video. However, Suzaku says, some people may attribute the lack of players to the devs' greedy gacha models. But that's not true. I've seen far more predatory gachas become massive successes. Absolutely, that's also true. It all boils down to marketing and player retention, which sadly, Atis has no idea how to do. Atis is the development company, which is an utter shame, as this is one of the best mobile games currently, but not as many people know of its existence. Facts, right? All of their social medias do not have big numbers. I think their YouTube channel has let me check, let's see. They don't even have a Last Cloudia channel. It's Atis Incorporated as their channel. They only have 2,000 followers. 2,000 subscribers. They're averaging a couple thousand views per video. So from what I've seen, they do post on YouTube. They have a Twitter account. They post there. Look at this. Their icons are Google Play and Apple icon, Twitter, and Facebook. Those are not the social medias to market to if you're trying to reach I'd say, the mainstream player base that play gacha games. If we go back to Reddit, like I said, there were 22 comments. That was just the first one. I thought it was really good, so I wanted to make a video on it. This guy says, I like that Last Cloudia isn't bigger than it is. More gachas would be shitty, and it'd become way too similar to, I think that's Grand Summoners, where if you don't whale for every new OP unit, you get kicked from multis. Also, mobile games with big ad budgets always effing suck. This guy says, from what I've heard, this is a very story-driven focused game, while the events are just secondary extra, and that's about it. Arena, which is their PvP model, is just there for bragging rights with little reward boost. Yeah, I've seen a lot of backlash on their PvP arena style feature in the game. This guy's response was short, but I do remember reading it. He said, this game has a lot of untapped potential, I agree, but it suffers from very limited new content releases. They're not pumping content out fast enough. At this point in time, we have a lot of main story and unit story-based content that can be showcased, which is what I thought initially when I started playing it. I was like, whoa, like, it's a year and a half in since release. There's a bunch of characters with a bunch of unique skill sets. The whole arc system is very unique. There's also a lot of other good points here. A lot of flaws that people point out. This guy had a Thiel. I don't know if I said that right. He's saying a bunch of bad moves from the devs. A lot of, because there's a Japanese and a global. There's a Japanese and a global version of the game. So I guess on JP, they had these step-up banners for free crystals. On the global version, they blocked it. They put a paid crystal wall in front of it. So you have to pay for the crystals in order to summon on the step-up banner. That's a huge turnoff for a lot of free-to-play players like myself. Paid weapons, I guess, you can only acquire through purchasing. Any pay-to exclusive features are going to kill 90% of your player base, because I'd say it's kind of like reality. You've got 90% of the people are going to be, for the most part, free to play, spending very little. You're only going to have 5 to 10% really wailing out on the game, which is a small amount of people. A lot of these points do still tie back to the game. It just seems that maybe the two major flaws, if I had to find a common denominator in all these responses, are lack of marketing and lack of content, or I should say the slowness of the content and when it's released. In my eyes, there's always going to be flaws of a game, right? If you focus on all the negatives of the game, you're never going to play anything, because there's no game is perfect. But I do think, like a lot of people do that I saw on Reddit, there's a ton of potential for this game. And if I can try and be on the forefront of it when it has a chance to gain popularity that I know it could, I'm excited to take that opportunity. So this will be the first installment, one of many. I plan on doing more videos about the gameplay in particular. But as of now, I just wanted to make this video as kind of my intro to Last Cloudia, a game that if you're watching this, you might already be a diehard fan, but if you're new to it, stick around, check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and tell me, what do you think they could do? What are some changes that Eidos could do to make this game better? And I'm thinking about making a video like that in the near future. So with that being said, if you're new, welcome to the Buddha Gang. Thanks for stopping by. Work hard, play harder, as I always say. I'll see you in the next one.